Welcome back, all of you, to the online classes of biology. We were studying chapter 11 Biotechnology Principles and Processes. So, in the previous class, we have studied that what is biotechnology and the principles, that is, genetic engineering and the ability of maintaining a sterile ambience in chemical engineering process. Okay, so these helped in the development of the branch of biology called biotechnology. Okay, and we have already studied that how the biotechnological methods are more advantageous than the conventional method of hybridization. Okay, and in the previous class, we also studied that what is the need for origin of replication and how, where the when the genes will get multiplied if introduced into a cell. Okay, so today we are going to study about the first recombinant DNA that is formed. Okay, so the first recombined DNA molecule. Okay, what do you mean by recombinant DNA molecule? A DNA molecule which contains the genes from some other organism also. Okay, means it is recombined. We have studied in Mendelian inheritance, isn't it? Recombinant types. Recombinant types means what? There is what? Mixing up of genes, isn't it? So this kind of recombinant DNA molecule, the first recombined DNA molecule constructed was a plasmid. Okay, plasmid. Do you remember what do you mean by plasmid? Plasmid is extra chromosomal DNA which is found in prokaryotic cells, isn't it? In addition to the chromosomes found in the nucleoid. What do you mean by nucleoid in prokaryotic cell? There is no nucleus, isn't it? You can see the DNA in the cytoplasm in a region known as nucleoid. Okay, so in addition to that, some bacteria are having what? An extra chromosomal DNA, circular extra chromosomal DNA, that is known as what? Plasmid. Okay, so into the plasmid of a bacterium known as Salmonella typhimurium. What is it? Salmonella typhimurium. So into this plasmid, okay, of what? Salmonella typhimurium. Okay, another gene, a gene which is encoding antibiotic resistance, okay, was combined, and this was the, so this contains what? Two different, the genes or genome of the Salmonella typhimurium and another gene which is responsible for the antibiotic resistance. These two what genes, or two the a small part of the antibiotic resistant gene was joined with the plasmid of Salmonella typhimurium. Understood? And this was done by Stanley Cohen and Herbert Boyer in 1972. Understood? So this was the first recombined DNA molecule. Okay, means which carries the genes from some other organism was done. Okay, this was the first time. Okay, done by Stanley Cohen and Herbert Boyer. Understood? Then the cutting of the DNA. So if we need to take a gene from a particular genome, we need to cut and take. Can we cut it by hands? Okay, because if you think that if you want to cut a particular gene from a genome, okay, there are many genes in the genome. They are characterized for, they are responsible for many features. So if you want to cut a particular gene from a genome, how is it possible? It is possible because of the certain kind of enzymes. Okay, that enzymes are known as restriction enzymes. Okay, they are also known as molecular scissors. Okay, which can be used to cut the genes. They are known as what? Molecular scissors. Actually what they are? They are enzymes. Okay, they are enzymes which are used to cut the genome. They are also known as what? Molecular scissors. Okay, then this cut piece of DNA, then it was linked with the plasmid DNA. Okay, and this plasmid DNA can act as the vectors. And how you will join the genes? If you simply leave there, it will not get joined. Okay, you have to add some enzymes. Have you studied about ligases? Ligases, where we have studied ligases are the enzymes which help in the joining of DNA molecules or nucleotide sequences, isn't it? We have studied that Okazaki fragments. When we studied this, during the replication process, isn't it? During replication process, Okazaki fragments which are formed will be joined by ligases, isn't it? So ligases are the enzymes which help in the joining of nucleotides. So here also, after cutting the genes from a genome, that and the plasmid to which the gene should be added, this two will be added, and then it will be means along with certain enzymes known as what? Ligases. Okay, so ligases help in the joining of what? The nucleotide sequences. And what is this plasmid do? Can they leave alone? No. So these plasmids act only as the vectors. Okay, and these vectors help in the transfer of the piece of DNA attached to it. Understood? So just like the mosquito act as the vector in the transfer of malarial parasite to the from the diseased person to the healthy person, in the same way plasmid can be used as a vector to deliver an alien piece into the piece of DNA into the host organisms. Is it clear? Then, so the plasmid, which is now carrying the gene of antibiotic resistance, were introduced into the host cell. So here they used E. coli, Escherichia coli as the host. Okay, and this plasmid, as it is closely related to the Salmonella typhimurium, what happened? They started replicating. Okay, using the DNA polymerases of this E. coli, and they produced a number of copies. So as as the plasmid replicate, bacteria can divide by binary fission, isn't it? So as the binary fission takes place in this E. coli, its plasmid also will get divided. So as the plasmid divides, the gene which we introduce into them also will get multiplied, and you will get a number of copies of the particular gene what we have introduced into this. So this process is known as cloning. Okay, so cloning of antibiotic resistant gene has done in this way. Understood? So once they produce a plasmid with the foreign gene antibiotic resistance, then they introduce this particular plasmid into E. coli, and as the E. coli divided or multiplied, okay, they produced multiple copies of antibiotic resistant genes in E. coli, and this process is known as cloning. Cloning means what? Making multiple copies of anything. So here cloning of antibiotic resistance gene is done. Okay, so this is done in different steps. So the 3 steps in genetically modifying an organism. Genetically modifying means what? Now this E. coli is having a plasmid, okay, which was not there before, isn't it? It is modified. You added some genes, and likewise from some organism you can cut the gene also, you can remove the gene also. Understood? Like if just one example I may say, if a fruit is there which is very proteinaceous, it is having high nutrient content, but if it contains a toxin, you are not able to use it. Can you? No. So you can do one thing. You can cut the gene which is responsible for producing that particular toxin. And if you able to grow that without that particular gene which is producing the toxin, that fruit will become edible. isn't it? So like this, you can add, you can cut, okay, you can modify. So all this is possible by biotechnological method. So the various steps and this kind of organisms which are produced by the modification of the genes, either by cutting or by adding. Now the genes are what modified in them, isn't it? The organisms phenotype also will be changed. So this kind of organism where, okay, the any genetic modification is done, that kind of organisms are known as what? Genetically modified organism, GMO. Okay, GMO in small in short we can say GMO. GMO means what? Genetically modified organisms. Okay, so this process includes various steps: identification of DNA with desirable genes, introduction of the identified DNA into the host, okay, maintenance of introduced DNA in the host, and transfer of the DNA to its progeny. Okay, so these are the major steps. First we have to identify, okay, this particular gene is what. For example, in the previous example we have studied what antibiotic resistance. Then this should be introduced into the host in most of the cases by using a vector. Understood? The rest I will teach you. Direct methods are also there, that I will teach you later. Okay, then maintenance of introduced DNA in the host, it should be maintained. Okay, and then as they replicate, this character should go to their progeny. So all this should be these are what the challenging steps in the biotechnology. Is it clear? Even though we said in very simple way, it is not so easy. Okay, it means it has to be done many times, and then only you will get the result, not so easily. Okay, then so now I am going to teach you about the tools of recombinant DNA technology. Okay, so if any technology has to be done, if any surgery has to be done, there should be some tools, isn't it? Some process needs some tools. So what are the tools that we need to use in the recombinant DNA technology? I hope the name recombinant DNA is very clear to you, isn't it? DNA with some extra genes from any other organism is called what? Recombinant DNA. Is it clear? So the key tools that we need to use in the genetic engineering. Genetic engineering means what? Manipulation, changing of the genes, are restriction endonucleases, okay, enzymes, restriction enzymes, in short, polymerase enzymes, ligases, vectors, host. Okay, so all these are what? Various tools that we need to use in the process of genetic engineering. So let's study one by one. So the first one is restriction enzymes. Okay, restriction enzymes. So let me teach what are restriction endonucleases. Restriction endonucleases are group of enzymes, okay, which comes under a larger class of enzymes called nucleases. So nucleases are the enzymes which can cut the DNA. Okay, nucleases which digest the DNA. Where you have studied this? In the experiment. Okay, what nucleases, proteases, lipases, all this we have studied now in chapter that is molecular basis of inheritance. In that chapter various experiments we have studied, and that time we have studied that nucleases digest the DNA, isn't it? So these nucleases are a group of enzymes which cut the DNA, and they are of two types, that are exonucleases and endonucleases. So exonucleases are those which remove nucleotides from the ends of the DNA. Okay, you have studied that DNA is a linear molecule, so it will have open ends, isn't it? So from the open ends they will cut the DNA. Okay, on the other hand, endonucleases, they cut the DNA from, means within the DNA, from anywhere inside. Understood? And restriction endonucleases are that kind of endonucleases which cut the DNA only through certain nucleotide sequences. Okay, and that sequences are known as palindromic sequences. Okay, what are they? They are known as what? Palindromic sequences. Okay, palindromic nucleotide sequences. So what do you mean by palindromic nucleotide sequences? These are, for example, the word Malayalam. Okay, see Malayalam. You can see from here also it is Malayalam, and from here also it is Malayalam, isn't it? Another word known as madam. Okay, madam, madam. Okay, this two words you can read it from here also madam, and from here also madam. Okay, so this kind of words, this kind of nucleotide sequences. So the palindromic DNA sequence is what? That reads same on the two strands when orientation of reading is kept same. Okay, for example, okay, see GAATTC, this is the what? The nucleotide sequence. Okay, when we read from 5 dash 3 dash, and you see what will be the complementary base pair for this G? For G, what will come? C, isn't it? For in along with A, T will come, isn't it? A, so T here. Then what? You can see that, see this one, in along with T, A will come, along with T again A, C, G. Understood? So like this, they are complementary also. At the same time, they read the same GAATTC from 5 dash 3 dash direction, and from this. Okay, that the orientation is kept the same, I told, isn't it? So from this position 5 dash to 3 dash direction, if you read, that will be again GAATTC. So this kind of what the nucleotide sequences, okay, that reads the same on the two strands in 5 dash 3 dash direction, okay, are called, okay, palindromic sequences. And if you read from 3 dash to 5 dash, okay, CACTTAAG, and 3 from here if you read CTTAAG. Understood? So if you keep the orientation same, and if you read, you will get the same nucleotide. Understood? In both the strand. That kind of sequences of nucleotides are known as what? Palindromic sequences. Okay, so palindromic sequences, now you understood now. So the restriction endonucleases will cut the DNA only through this palindromic sequences, and there are different palindromic sequences which are specific for what? Different endonucleases, restriction endonucleases. So you understood what are endonucleases? They cut the DNA from inside, from anywhere inside they can cut the DNA. Then I told restriction endonucleases are what? They can cut the DNA through the palindromic sequences. What are palindromic sequences? They are sequences which can be read the same if we keep the orientation same in two of the strands. Clear? So let's see how the first DNA means restriction endonucleases was found in 1963. Okay, there was an experiment where the scientists found that bacteriophages. Okay, bacteriophages are what? The viruses which attacks the bacteria, isn't it? So two enzymes responsible for restricting the growth of bacteriophages in E. coli were isolated. Means, what do you mean by that? That is, the bacteria produces two different enzymes which prevent the growth of what? E. coli, sorry, which prevent the bacteriophage in E. coli. So E. coli produces two different kinds of enzymes which prevent the growth of this bacteriophage in E. coli. Is it clear? And this enzymes, these two different enzymes worked in two different ways. One was acting or adding methyl groups to DNA, and the other used to cut the DNA. Okay, so the one which used to cut the DNA, was what? Restriction endonuclease. Understood? And when they studied later, this was a kind of restriction endonuclease. So this resulted in the first what discovery of restriction endonucleases. Okay, and the first restriction endonuclease that was found was Hind2. Okay, Hind2. What it is? Hind2. Understood? And you can see that, so the functioning of or the functioning or the sequences on which they were founded, they were acting or they were cutting were found later only. Okay, and this Hind2. Okay, Hind2. So the Hind2 used to cut the DNA by identifying a particular recognition sites with 6 base pairs, and that particular 6 base pairs are known as recognition sequence for Hind2, and there are many restriction enzymes, around 900 restriction enzymes. Okay, and that is isolated from around 230 strains of bacteria nowadays available. Okay, so there are many what restriction endonucleases found later on, and the first one was Hind2. Okay, then how we will name this endonucleases? Okay, there are certain conventional methods of naming, that is the the first part comes from the genus, then second 2 letters from the species, okay, from where they are isolated. For example, Echo R1 comes from Escherichia coli RY13. Okay, and R is referring what? To the strain in which it belongs. Okay, and then Roman letters following that, Hind2. Okay, for example, Hind2 or what? Eco R1 means the order in which that particular enzyme is isolated from that strain of bacteria. Understood? So depends upon that name or the sequence will change. Is it clear? Sorry, the Roman letter will change. Is it clear? So this is the conventional method of what? Naming the endonucleases. Okay, restriction endonucleases. Restriction endonucleases inspects the DNA and find its particular palindromic sequence. Then they cut the DNA, okay, at the same site. Okay, so if you use the same kind of restriction endonucleases, they will what? Find out their particular palindromic sequence, and then they cut the DNA at specific sites. Okay, so here you can see that here it will be cutting between G and A, and here also A and G. So you can see that and in another foreign DNA also they will search for the particular type of palindromic sequence, and they cut like this, GA, and between the what? A and G. Understood? So while doing so, what happened? You can see that here what will be left out, they'll be cut in such a way that, okay, the overhanging sticky ends will be there like this. Understood? So in this strand, what will be projecting out? TTAA, and in the other one, okay, you can see that the other one strand will be overhanging, and that will have complementary base pair of this particular strand, so it can easily come and join, okay, by complementarity. So in this way, palindromic sequences, when means restriction endonucleases, when they cut the palindromic sequences, they produce the sticky ends. Okay, so that when they come close to each other by simple the complementarity, this ends will get joined. So this is the another advantage, means this is the advantage of what? Restriction endonucleases. They produce a sticky ends. Now I hope you understood, isn't it? So overhanging what? Or only one strand will be cut. Okay, means in one strand they'll be cutting the DNA little bit away, and the other strand will be just what? Like this, projecting out. Okay, and here also. So what will happen? This strand and this will be what they will be complementary to each other, so they will easily combine. So restriction enzymes, they cut the strand of DNA little away from the center of the palindromic sites, but between the same two bases on opposite strands, so that what single stranded portions will be left out. Okay, this overhanging stretches are known as what, sticky ends. Understood? And they form hydrogen bonds with the complementary complementary base pair. Okay, this will be easy, means it will make easy the work of ligases. Understood? So in this way, DNA recombinant molecules will be produced by restriction endonucleases and by using ligases. Okay, so you can see that foreign DNA can be cut using the same palindromic restriction endonucleases. Vector also will be cut. Okay, vector also will be, so this is the foreign DNA. From this, if you want to take this much, you can use restriction endonucleases. Then here you will make a cut, and into this portion this will be added. Understood? And form a recombined molecule. Okay, then this plasmid, okay, can be introduced into the host, and when the host divides along with this other part of the DNA, what, this introduced gene also will multiply. Is it clear? So this results in the formation of what, or the host cell, when it multiplies, we can get the clones or copies of the introduced gene. Is it clear? So these are what the first type of tool that we have to use. Okay, that is restriction endonucleases, and how it is useful in biotechnology you understood, I think. Okay, we'll continue in the next class.